Hey, Moira, it's lovely to
Hi,
meet
Mela.
you. And it's so great to work with you. And now I'm gonna go into deeper into you. I'm
Woohoo!
I'm so curious what drives you, and because we were just talking about school. Can we start there?
Yes, we can. School of Life or school at the government schools?
Well, actually both, because I think both are important to mention.
Yeah. So what drives me? Drives me as in life or as in what we're doing in the blockchain space or
Can you see them separate?
yes, very
Oh,
different.
okay.
Yeah, they're very different, but they've merged into one. All my life, we were just talking, okay, before we started recording there, about the schooling system, and it's not schooling. It's the exams that you have to do and the stress levels of the exams in schools in Ireland when you are like 15 and 18. Those two are like 14, 15 and 18 are the two major. They're nothing more than a memory test. That's all that they are. There's no critical thinking. There's no, what we teach our children, what I would like to see more people teaching their children as well is real life skills, how to grow things, how to nurture themselves and other people, how to get the best out of everything. As a gardener, and I know you love gardening as well, or even as a photographer, we're both photographers as well. You want to get the best out of your picture. You want to get the most lush stuff out of your garden. You don't want an okay vegetable patch. You're always looking to get the best produce out of it. It's the same with our children. We want the best for them. And the best for them is not, in my opinion, putting them through a system, because that's what it is designed to be, is a system. You're putting them through a system that they don't necessarily fit into. I didn't fit into it. I got through it, but I definitely didn't fit into it. And I know that I thrive being in control of what I want to learn. I have I have become expert in so many different fields that I have worked in healthcare, in even when I was in the restaurant, you're constantly learning about new wines, new cheeses, new foods, new cultures, traveling as well. I know you're an avid traveler too, but you always want to know. For me, when I want to learn something, I want to learn as much of it as I possibly can squeeze out of. It's like squeezing a saturated sponge dry. I want to get it all out of it.
So
And
is it so that you actually started to learn more after school?
uh, definitely yes. But also while I was in school, I always had a job. Even from when I was 8 or 9, I worked in like a puppy rescue center. I was always an entrepreneur. So I was always looking for ways to make money and have a little bit of pocket money, but also to learn new things. Like when I worked in a puppy rescue center, it was a shitty job. You're cleaning out poop and wee off the dogs, but you also get to see what other humans do to these animals, and you get to provide that, again, nurture and that caring for them, and you learn so much about them. But yeah, I'm very blessed. I have an amazing mom who always had me in the garden, or who always had me in the kitchen, and she taught me most of my life skills. None of these I learned in school. When I was in secondary school, we got options between art or business. I understood business was going to get me further in life. So I didn't do art. Now, I was the very first student age that did transition year in Ireland. So I got to do art, and I got A pluses in it. And I really enjoyed exploring something that I wouldn't have normally opened my mind to. But as a chef, as a trained chef as well, that's art. As a photographer, it's art.
I,
And it's such a crucial part of your brain to
mm,
discover this, but it's not necessarily something that's nurtured or encouraged in school unless you forfeit something else for it. I think there's always a trade-off in the schooling system. Whereas when you're homeschooling, or when you're doing things that the children, it's their area of interest, not your area of interest. Of course, we'd love them to learn all the things that we like to do, but you
not,
can only learn what you want to learn. You can't learn stuff you don't want to learn.
not. Well, and when it comes to homeschooling, it's trying to find a way, and trying to discover what makes your child's heart tick, so that way they can learn. And I can try to force feed my daughter with all kinds of information. She's not going to take it.
No,
And
she'll hate you for it.
absolutely, and that's what most kids, and that's what I hated in school. So when we talk about education and schooling, we've been through the system, but now we are in a different system.
We're creating, collaborating and co-creating new systems that are conducive to learning, that are conducive to creating very different outcomes as well. You know, when you leave school and you go, you have two choices. You leave school and you go and work for the rest of your life, or you leave school and you go to college, take out a student loan, work your butt off while you're trying to study this thing that you, area of interest that you really love. And then you finish and then you go to work for the rest of your life. The only difference is you get better paid, which means that you can afford more debt. So are you better off just leaving school and going and working in the first place and having less debt in your life? So that's kind of your two options, or do nothing, which isn't really an option for a lot of people.
Well, I can imagine sometimes to for a small period of time to do nothing and to come back to your senses. Travel, yeah, most people could say that as not doing nothing, which is actually quite a lot of work to organize. But so what did you learn after school in your travels and in your educations that drives you now?
You know, so I left school. I finished my final exam in school. So our last exams in Ireland, they could take up to 2 weeks. They're split over several days and half days and whatever. My last exam finished at 12 o'clock on, I can't remember what day of the week it was. I was on a flight and had moved to London and was living in London 3 hours later. I was gone. I was 17 and I didn't come back pretty much for 10 years. I was in London for 6.5 years. Then I moved to America. I was in San Francisco and Chicago and Miami for a while, came back to London for 6.5 years, or came back to London for a couple of years and then came back home. I learned how to stand on my own 2 feet. I learned how to be very self-sufficient. I always had been anyway. That's how I was raised. But I always learned, pay your rent first because you must have somewhere to live. Make sure you've got food in the press. And after that, everything else is okay. There was rarely money for anything else after those 2 things. But you learn, you know, there's nobody coming to rescue you. You have to do all this stuff on your own. You're out in the big world. But I also learned how to connect with people like that, how to pick up a job. I was a waitress, so I could pick up work anywhere. I had a lot of confidence as well. So that really helped. You know, when I look at 17-year-olds now, oh my goodness, they don't even know how to write a CV, let alone how to go and hand it to someone and say, hey, I'm willing to come and work here and show up on time every single day, work late if you need me to, I will do what it needs, give me a job. That's how I approached getting work. When I went to London, I had like I was managing, supervising a pub in London when I was 17. Right now, you couldn't even get a 17-year-old to collect glasses in a pub, let alone have some sort of a responsible age. But the world is different now, but we are raising our children to be, I don't like using the term, but snowflakes. They really haven't got the same gumption. They haven't got the same get up and go. They don't have the same social skills. And, you know, a lot of people say, oh, homeschooling, you know, they don't develop social skills. Homeschool children are the most sociable children that you could possibly imagine. They thrive in any situation, not just in their little peer group in school and the classroom where they feel safe. It's very different. So
I love it when people say that about homeschooled kids, because that is the first thing everybody thinks about, is the socialization of the homeschooled kids, and that is the thing I least worry about as a homeschooling mom.
Yeah, it's crazy. It actually it's just an assumption that your kids are locked up at home on their own all the time or something, or
and it's what people are used to, you know, that it's the picture of a normal, so-called normal life, and that's how it's supposed to be. And that
is not supposed to be normal though.
No, but that's what I love what you said about choosing between art and business, because I think business is art and there's no separation between the two. So when you started doing art, and how is art playing a role in your business life today?
Well, art is like okay. So for example, I just finished at 1 a.m. this morning doing my business plan for the next 3 to 5 years. The cash flow forecast, that's very much business, profit and loss kind of stuff. With the business plan, it is very much business, but it is very much visualization. It's very much creativity. It's envisioning how my business, not just a bricks and mortar business, okay, I'm going to have this many staff, I'm going to do this many sales. It's what we are going to achieve in our worlds and in the worlds of other people in the coming 3 to 5 years, because I believe what we're doing right now, first of all, it's very niche. It's very, as we discussed on the leaders meeting this morning, it's very niche and it's very unique. If me and you had these resources 3 years ago, starting out in our journey, our success would have been condensed faster. Now, I'm glad that it didn't, because it's through that experience and self-learning. I'm all about self-learning as well. We have molded the model that we have now, where we can put plans and we can put structure and support in front of people, entirely up to them what they do with it. But from the clients that we're working with currently, my goodness, talk about grabbing it by the horns. They're absolutely amazing. I'm so inspired by the people that we work with. And like, seriously, it does get emotional on our calls sometimes too, because what we get to do is life-changing. It's life-changing to be able to give people cash flow. I worked my socks off 100 hours a week, my whole life in hospitality and in healthcare then, before I gave up working to work from home. And I never learned how to generate assets, how to generate real cash flow that doesn't have me worrying about what's coming next. It doesn't have me worrying about how to pay my most basic bills. That I struggled, no matter how many hours I worked, no matter what salary I was on, I still struggled to be able to be just over broke. Whereas now it's different. And yeah, I think so the art perspective of it, we are very much creating, but co-creating as well, because what we do as a team as well as individuals is really, really special. And nobody is an island and nobody can do stuff on their own. I had my friend here just left, and we were talking about foraging and the environment and how we are such a symbiotic. Even if you look at our lungs and the trees, we're talking about this zero emission carbon stuff that they're talking about. We need carbon dioxide. The mother nature needs it. Without it, we all die. The trees breathe out, we breathe in. We breathe out, the trees breathe in. And it's that relationship between, everything. And it's the same with us in the coaching crew as well. We work with each other. We're like a bunch of strong trees standing together. And between us, we can, we figure our way out and around through this, and we co-create all of this together, because some of the stuff you come up with is amazing. Some of the stuff I come up with is pretty okay too.
So no, you're amazing. You're amazing.
Thanks. But between us, we have this, and some days my energy levels are shit. Some days I'm like this, wired to the moon, even though I've had like 4 hours sleep last night. Yeah. So we bounce off each other's energy as well. And, we can use that. And that's how we as human beings, we as Mother Earth and human beings, we all interact, and it's all part of this, this ebb and flow, and it's lovely. Yeah. It's lovely to be part of. Sorry, I'm waffling.
No, absolutely. No, I love it. But back to the creativity and the art, is it also that when it comes to art, you need to have an imagination? Is that something that you can use within your business and within this all the programs we're doing and
Yeah, well, like one of the biggest pieces for me, okay, so I've done all the self-help books, I've done meditation, I've done, I've spent my whole life reading these books, but it never really came together until, like, it's crazy because you have it all there, but there's just there's just a switch that just goes. And sometimes that switch can be a person, or it can be a situation. I know getting pregnant certainly was part of that for me, because I had to switch to, hang on a second, this is way bigger than Moira Gray now. This is Moira Gray +1.
Yeah.
So, but it is, it has to be, you know, the goal setting for me. So I've always had my hopes and my dreams, and now I'd love a big house and I'd love to spend the rest of my life traveling. And if I had loads of money, I would do this, this, and this. But when I refined that in a very visual, but also sensing what it feels like to have achieved that, I did this work with Shameen Lakhani almost 3 years ago now, and we worked on my why. Why is it that I'm doing this? You talked about drive at the beginning of this.
Yeah.
What is it? I want better for me. I want better for my children. I deserve it. It's not just that I want it, I deserve it, because which is again mindset and it's belief. It's a big part of it, because while we want all these things, inside I had a really bad understanding of wealth, money, wealthy people. I grew up in the 80s in Ireland, where everything I worked for had to be really hard work. I had to put everything into it. Nothing comes easy. You have to put, the more you put in, the more you get out, kind of thing. But now we have different tools and systems where we can work smart, and it doesn't have to be as time if costly as our normal way of understanding work to be. So inside of that, I had to get really creative about what my goal was and get very specific about it. And also to have achieved that goal, what does it feel like? And I worked back from there. I'm really happy to say that 3 years later, I'm achieving those goals, and I'm rewriting another set of goals for straight away after that. In the next couple of months, I'll have actually achieved the goal that I had set as a 5-year goal, because I 100% got into the artistic understanding of what does it feel like to open the front door of a house that I own? What does it feel like to serve a meal at my table with my family, and work back from that? So yeah, it makes it really real, but you have to put your
you have to put your work to it. But is it also not that if you have this idea hanging there and leave it hang there, or are you integrating it into your daily life? Like you say, you're painting the picture, you envision yourself walking through the door.
I'm a big believer in, so manifesting is something a lot of people do without even realizing that they're doing it. But I am a big believer in physically doing. So for example, when I got this house here, I was practically on the homeless list with a 5-month-old baby. And I had been looking at houses everywhere, couldn't find a house anywhere. And for months, because I knew that I had bought extra time to be where I was. Christmas 3 years ago, 4 years ago almost, I literally packed every single thing I had and I put it in boxes by the front door. The whole hallway was full of boxes. And I said, I need a house. I am ready for a new house. And surely enough, a week later, it appeared. It didn't just appear. I drew this house, this particular house that I'm in. I literally drew it on a piece of paper before it actually came up a couple of days later. Again, I'm buying a house in the springtime. I'm having a baby shortly afterwards. I have no idea where that house is, but I know I have a vision of what approximately it is and what it feels like to be in that home. I've already started boxing up all of my stuff. I'm under no pressure to move out of this house at all. I could stay here as long as I want, but I have a very clear goal and vision of when and how I'm going to do this. So I am a believer in taking action. You have to take action, because if you're not taking action, then it's just pie in the sky stuff. You have to work towards it. And that's why if you know your end goal, even if it's just a simple financial goal of making an extra $100 a week or $100 a month even, if you know that, then you know how to work back from that and you know how to achieve it. And you take the action steps to do that. But if you don't take the action steps, then nothing's going to happen.
Nothing's going to happen. No, and I like it what you say. So actually, the moment you box up your last inventory of your house, the new house is going to appear magically. Yep. So what I'm curious about, like you say, you have to envision what you want, but then you need to put in the work. What is your experience in the kind of work that you need to put in? Because is it, like you said, you can meditate all day till you're blue in the face, but that won't give you your dreams. So you need to specify first, and then you need to put in the work.
Yes. So look, let's be real about it. Most dreams cost money.
Yeah, they do.
So where do you get money from? What is money? Money is just energy. That's all it is. We live in a world where money is neither created nor destroyed. It is simply transferred from one person to another. And when you get that piece and you learn how to attract money to you, not just by going, oh, I'd love to win the lotto. Don't play the lotto. It's a scam. People spend a fortune on the lotto every year. I know loads of people who do. But what you need to do is get educated and get focused. For me, my main thing was getting focused and staying focused. I'm not just talking focused for a couple of hours a day. I'm talking 24/7, laser focused. I want that goal and I want it as fast as possible, and I will do whatever it takes to get there. So that means lots of hours educating, making some bold moves sometimes, making some very strategic, consistent learning and consistent moves. And if you do that, honestly, I still giggle about it now. I used to watch soap operas. I used to spend 2 hours a day watching soap operas. Now, the world is a bit of a soap opera at the moment, and I'm trying not to focus too much on that because, again, that's another distraction that is preventing me from spending that hour that I might spend scrolling through messages or liking or sharing stuff. That hour could be making me towards my house faster, towards my next goal after that faster. You know, we're already collaborating on blockchain for women, and there's a huge demand for blockchain for teens. I have people contacting me every day about it. This is my next goal, early next year, as soon as possible, if I can stay focused, that we can get this off the ground as well, because it's something that people are screaming for right now. But again, this is, you know, if you focus, I took every distraction out of the way. That also included people in my life that I was chit-chatting about bullshit with, really. I started focusing, okay, are these people promoting me? Are they saying, oh, no, don't get involved in crypto, that's dangerous? Or, oh, no, you shouldn't do that because the government will find out, or whatever. If I listen to those people who are my friends and I love them dearly, but if the people in your life are not your cheerleaders, if they're not raising you up and encouraging you to be successful, you might want to consider how much time you're spending with them. I'm not saying isolate them completely, but when I reduced the time that I was spending with those type of people, and started surrounding myself only with the people who had what I wanted and who could show me what they had and made me want to achieve more, be more, and have more, then that really was a game changer in my life as well. So I think, you know, surround yourself by the right people, get rid of the distractions, whether that's soccer on every single Saturday religiously with the lads watching soccer. It's a distraction. Do you want to be sitting there when you're drinking a beer when you're 50 on the couch on a Saturday when you're fat and old? Or do you want to have a really exciting life that you actually dream about on the other days that you're not sitting watching soccer?
Well, and maybe it is someone's dream to do that, which is fine. But if it's not your dream, do consider what you're spending your time on.
Yeah, because like it's literally, we all have 24 hours. And I know, Melly, you're the same as me, and there's a lot of people the same, especially in the coaching crew. If I wrote down what I do from the moment I wake up until the moment I go to sleep at night, most people wouldn't do that in a week because they have all the other distractions. And, you need a bit of downtime or you need to relax. For me, relaxing is when I hit the pillow at night going, yes, that was a good day. Or like last night, 1 o'clock, I'm 15 weeks pregnant at the moment. I should have been in bed at 9 o'clock last night. I stayed up and did my business plan. And do you know what? The kick I got out of finishing that and getting it off my table and looking at what I'm going to do for the next couple of years, I'm so motivated today. It's crazy.
No, but that is the thing. I think most of it is mindset. So if you think you have to get up at 7 because you have to drag yourself to work, instead of yes, I want to get up at 7 because I'm so super motivated to get my goals and to get where I want to be and get the maximum out of life. That's a completely different way of approach of life.
Yeah. Plus, one thing that's important to remember, it's not going to be like this forever. What we're doing now is we're setting up something that I never even knew of up until 2 years ago, even 3 years ago when I started in this space. I'd never heard of blockchain or cryptocurrency. But one thing, passive income, I never understood. Now that we understand it, we are creating as many multiple streams of passive income, whether it's only $1 a day or whether it's $100 while you're sleeping at night, every single day. So we're generating all these systems working for us so that next year when I have baby, I can take 2 months off, or I can take the rest of the year off if I want to.
Yeah.
Or if I create enough passive income, I'll never work again. But I can't see that happen because I absolutely love what I do. But these are choices. If you create a position, then you can leverage off it, and then you have choices. They're time freedom. Time freedom is, it doesn't matter how many millions you have in the bank. It's not the money, it's the time freedom that it gives you. You have freedom to be able to, not be reliant on someone else's schedule. You have the freedom to make decisions around what you really want to do on that particular day, not something that you have to do. Of course,
or somebody else tells you to do because they think that is necessary because you are in a job that you're stuck in. Yeah. So when it comes to your journey, if you had a choice 3 years ago, would you do it over again the same, or what?
I'm a big believer in never changing a thing. Never. The hardest moments in my life were my greatest moments, because whether that was losing my dad at 15, whether that was breaking up with the love of my life at the time, whether that was leaving the country and not being able to come home for a long time, whether it was, when it's so cliche, when one door opens, when one door closes, another one opens, but all the doors are open. You just have to go and you just literally have to go and open it. We're not locked into anything. But I do believe, everything is there for a purpose. I have learned in my 40 odd years to now, when something and nothing challenging really. I don't see stuff as challenging anymore. When you're younger, it's like, oh, why is this happening to me? Now I'm like, isn't that interesting? I wonder what I'm going to learn from this. So when you adopt that attitude towards life, it makes the hard times interesting because they're there for a purpose. When I started, I was so broke. I literally did not have any support with Tristan. I didn't know how I was going to pay for nappies. I couldn't afford oil for the heating. I was like, okay, how am I going to do this? And then because I had made a commitment that I was going to invest time and money every single day towards changing my life, that really has compounded so much over the last 3 years, and it is life-changing. I never thought I'd be in this situation where not only am I doing it, but I can actually show other people how to do it as well. I wouldn't change a thing. There was some really rubbish times. We got some serious bloody noses through some network marketing stuff and whatever. And we continue to sometimes make decisions and take a risk on something that might not necessarily work out. But it's high risk, high return on a lot of these things anyway. And we go into them with that level of experience where, okay, no problem, which is why we diversify. We diversify over such a broad range of things.
And that way you make a safety net so that you can, so you are able to take the risk. It's not just you can take the risk, but you have this safety net. So then when you take the risk and it doesn't go the way you expect it to go, it's all right, because the losses are, you can calculate the losses or calculate.
Yeah, you just factor them into. It's a bit like, when I had my restaurant, you can have days where you don't have a single customer, and then you have other days where you're smash busy. But you're not going to say, oh, because I didn't have any customers today, I'm going to close my business. No, it's factored in as part of your balance sheet. And, in this space, we have so much opportunity. If I even looked at half the opportunities that get shown to me every day, I wouldn't get time to focus on what I'm supposed to be doing. But the ones that we are involved in, we're getting really good at, choosing. Maybe 7 out of 10 of them are really good and are long-term successful. Of course, you're going to have bloody noses. It's part and parcel of it.
It's part of life. So,
it's totally part of it. Yeah. But it's like, if, as many people over the last 2 years have discovered, if you have one source of income and you're relying on your boss, your bank, or your government, you're in really big trouble. No savings are going to help you. No pension's going to help you. You must have multiple streams of income. You must have. There is no way that anybody is going to. You might survive, but we're not here just to survive. We're here to thrive. We're here to have abundant lives. There is more than enough to go around. And this is, again, with the game of money and attraction, you can have anything you want, but you have to believe that you're entitled to it, and you have to know how to get it, and you have to surround yourself by the right people to do that. And those are kind of like the keys, because you can want it all you want, but if you're not prepared to make it so, then it won't be so.
I like what you just said before, is that you compounded your time and effort and money to where you are now. So compounding is not just leveraging your money, it's also leveraging your time, right?
Yeah. And we've refined our time as well, how we use it. In the beginning, it was lots of learning, and not having capital to put into anything. Now, any capital we put in is profits from other stuff.
Yeah.
I have never put in fresh capital for my initial $700 3 years ago. Ever. I have, and that was a slow process, bootstrapping it, as Sean calls it. It was a slow process. But for anyone who does have a bit of capital to play with, they can accelerate that a lot faster. Plus, their loss risk is a lot lower than what ours was, because we really didn't understand much of what we were getting involved in. We were getting involved because someone said that we were going to make loads of money, and somebody said that it was a good idea, and somebody said it was going to be really successful. But that somebody wasn't interested in your education about any of it. That somebody was interested in a commission check. They honestly, and even with the best of intentions behind it, they're going to teach you how to do the same and get commission checks off other people. But that's not a good, it's morality wise, that's not a good thing for that. The whole thing about abundance and money, there's an energy that goes with that as well. And if you're taking someone's money to line your own pocket rather than helping somebody put their money to work to line their pocket and their grandchildren's pocket, that has a very different flow of energy and wealth towards the people who are providing that. And I think that was one of the biggest game changers in the mindset and in the energy behind what we do now compared to when I first started. I needed that commission check so desperately, but that energy goes into your work. And, there's a fear behind that as well. Whereas now I do not want someone's commission check. I want somebody to be able to do what I did. Yeah. And if you earn a little bit because of that, then that's different. I don't need that anymore. What I need to do is to make sure that I'm leaving a legacy of happy people behind me who are in a great position in life and who don't have their back against the wall like a lot of people will have in the coming years.
Yeah, no, and it's like when you have a beautifully wrapped present and you hand it over to someone, it's their choice if they want to accept it or not, which is a completely different approach than working for the next commission. And that present that they hold in their hands, that can mean so much, that can be life-changing, which
for me it was life-changing.
Yeah, which reflects back, it's a win-win for everybody, I think. And that is, I think, what you're talking about, is to really create a win-win. And that's
my drive. That's the fire in my belly, is to know that I can do something. It's like when I worked as a carer, I might have been one of the few carers in the hospital that every night, every day when I arrived on shift, I would go around every single bed and greet every one of my patients, even though if I'd never met them before or if I was there the day before. I'd make sure everybody was tucked in and had what they needed before I went to bed or before I left at night, because they were there on their own. And, I think just having that want to want better for other people. I really want better for other people.
Yeah.
And I think if I can keep achieving that, that to me is just, that's what we're here for.
Yeah. That's what we're doing it for, right?
Yeah, that's the fire in my belly to know, like when we look at our clients already that have finished the 3 months to cash flow program, for example, they're happy, we're happy, but also this is not where it ends.
No.
This is, you know, their lives are going to go on, our lives are going to go on, but their lives are going on in a very positive trajectory of being more comfortable. And it's also the ripple effect. What they've learned, they're not going to keep to themselves. They're going to help other people.
Yeah.
And this is the lovely thing about, you know, what we're doing. And as we do this more and more into the other academies that we're going to be working in as well, these are people that would not normally ever have access to this kind of mindset or this kind of financial freedom or financial education. And it's contagious, you know, because when you realize that it's not a lack in the world, well, because we keep hearing there's a lack of this, there's a lack of that. There's not. There's an abundance of absolutely everything. And when people start living abundantly again, then I really think that's going to change a lot of things on the planet as well.
And I'm so proud of all the clients that we've had.
They're amazing.
But it's also amazing what can be done in 3 months. I've seen people go from being completely stuck to flourish in a way they never expected, and I'm just like, woo, yes, that's it.
Yeah, it's an amazing program. Yeah.
So we've been working together on the 3 months to cash flow for a couple of months now. What is it with the 3 months to cash flow program that you enjoy most?
That's a tough question. Okay, well, obviously, I absolutely love working in the team of coaches. So, you know, as the master coaching team, myself, you, Robin, and Richard, it's even if a client doesn't show up, which is almost never, we can spend still a whole hour shooting the breeze and having fun. And because we just, it's such a shame we live so far apart, because well, it's probably a good thing as well, actually. But I can see lots of happy meals in the future when things settle down and we're able to travel again. Getting to know the other coaches as well, you know, every time we're on a call and we're introducing ourselves to the new clients, a new piece of information comes out from one of the coaches. I'm like, oh, that's interesting, or I didn't know that. Also working with the clients, you know, mindset is key to everything in life. It's key to losing weight. It's key to good relationships. It's key to health. It's key to financial. It's key to absolutely, excuse me, everything. The way we have it structured with the introduction to it, especially on the first session, and, you know, they define out a little bit about the client session in the first 30 minutes. Even when you did it with me for Train the Trainer, I got a piece out of that I normally wouldn't have verbalized or wouldn't have. It's not that I wouldn't have verbalized it, because it's stuff that's in here. But when you say it out loud to accountability people, then it becomes really real. And, you know, we do live in our heads a lot, and we do have all this stuff, and we dance around things a lot in life. We don't get straight into it. And one of the, you know, some of the questions that are asked of the client in the beginning, don't be afraid about them, by the way, it's all fun. It really, it stops you dead in your tracks, and you go, you have to think about it and you have to answer it. And when you answer it, because it's such an honest answer, that really, we've seen it literally like that with 2 particular clients. It was a life-changing moment. It was a aha moment. And from that has built out a very, very different 3 months ahead and beyond for them. So yeah, I suppose my favorite parts would be definitely working with you guys, but also seeing that magic happen with a client, especially in the very first week, when, you know, they're challenged on what it is holding them back, or what, I won't get into any of the questions, but you know, that specific it's like you're just pushing something and you have to get a response to it. And the response, even for the person, is often really unexpected and really powerful. So it's that little bit of magic, I guess, that's the aha moment for people that is just so beautiful to watch. We as coaches have come close to tears on more than one occasion when we see that happening, because it's so powerful. So
And it's so genuine and honest, and that is what I like about it. So yeah, I love what you.
What's your favorite bit?
Sorry?
What's your favorite bit?
You know, I just love helping people thrive. That is my drive. And to see these developments and to see people get out of their own way, that is, to me, you know, and I've been there. I've been sitting on the couch looking at myself and like, whoa, where am I? What is this? This is not me. I need to drastically change something. Otherwise, this is the end. And I don't want this to be the end. So I believe that the program can really help you make, if you need to make a drastic change, you can. If it doesn't need to be that drastic, you know, you can take the measures that need to be done to thrive. And that is what I like about the program. And that, yeah, well, that's the reason I came up with it, because I see so many beautiful people, not just the coaches, but also the people that join the workshop. They are all amazing people with all their own stories, and I just love to help them.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny because it can be from a young person to somebody well on in life. It literally is for anyone, whether you were like me, stone cold broke and haven't a clue what you were doing in the beginning, or if you have a lot of experience in the space but you're stuck and you just, you know, there's so many people that keep getting involved and more stuff involved because someone says it's a good idea or someone else is doing it and you know that they're making money or whatever, but there's no structure to it. They're just allocating funds and funds and funds instead of having very specific targeted goals, and also being able to keep track of their assets, which is something that has been an incredibly powerful tool for me. It is one that I fought a very long time to not do, but tracking assets every single week is super powerful. Even if you're only making a tenner a week,
if you see how much that tenner can grow. I just recently had $30 allocated into a system, and I didn't look at it because I thought, oh, it's just $30. Let's who cares? Well, today I care because I make 9 cents a day on that $30. And if you do not understand that 9 cents a day for a $30 investment is a lot, then you need to be in the program, because then we can explain to you how powerful that is. It's not going to make me a billionaire, but
if you take a penny and double it and double that and double that and double that, after a certain period of time, which is where I'm getting to now, is if you keep compounding your efforts and your income, even if it starts out super, super small, like a cent, after at a certain critical point, then the doubling becomes insane. And also at that point, the time invested, your habits, and guys, I challenge anybody, 3 months. You give us 3 months of focused, dedicated work, and no soaps, no sports, no going out partying at Christmas. Seriously, 3 months, 90 days focused. You will develop habits that I promise you will never go back to those old habits. You will never, ever go back to those old habits. It's crazy, because I could never imagine doing any of the time wasting activities that I used to. I'm so focused that if I find myself getting off track during the day, which I sometimes do, I go, no. Even this morning, I wrote down, instead of, this is my list for today, I have lists everywhere. I'm not going to get it all done today. Some of the stuff on this list is not income producing activities. It's other distracting stuff, Christmas shopping, whatever other stuff that I need to do, which I almost switched off what I was doing, which was an income producing activity, to go and have a quick look at that thing to see if I could get that done quickly. And I was like, nope, write it down, come back, stay focused, stay focused. We have a committee inside our head. an entire committee, they're very, very busy, and they always like to be going scattering, doing stuff. But if you can keep them focused, you have to rein yourself back in. If you're like my brain, 100 times a day, I have to say, no, focus, no, focus, no, focus, and use your time wisely. You won't ever go back to your old ways, because
the thing is, we all get distracted, you know, me included, but to
human.
get yourself back to your focus, that is the key.
Yeah. And it's
Not-
just,
and not
it's like exercising.
Yeah. And not punish yourself for being distracted, but just say, okay, I'm distracted, back to focus.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Well, and the thing is, the urgent things like Christmas shopping, because Christmas is over in a couple of weeks. So these will get done because there is a time limit attached to it. But to your dreams, there's no time limit. So you need to put in the work and the focus to get them done. If you don't, life is over before you know it, and your dreams are still somewhere in this cloud.
Absolutely. And why wait? Like, I never considered retiring. I always thought, oh, I'll just keep working, it'll be grand, I'll just keep renting, I don't ever want debt, so I'll never buy a house. But now I want the ability to say, you know what, I have 2 or 3 children, I really want to focus on them for the next 5 years. I have enough passive income coming in that I don't need to be worrying about working, and I can grow my garden in my new house, and I can spend time with my children. I don't want to have to not have the ability to make those choices. I don't want to, like, when I see people that are in their 60s that are going back into work because they can't afford not to work, it's criminal. It's criminal that somebody at the age of 68 years of age in Ireland is only starting to get a pretty useless pension to survive on for the next 5 years before they drop dead, if they're lucky enough even to make it that far at this point. We're not born to work hard, pay bills and die. We're born to live a life. Now, the system is very well structured to stop that and to prevent you from doing that. But you don't have to be part of that system. You can be half part of the system and half free, or you can, you know, you can choose how much of that system works for you, not you working for it. If parts of that system work for you, then amazing. But most people, when you really look at it and zoom out from it, that's not what we were born to do. We're led to believe that that is how life should be, and it 100% is not how life should be. Take me back to the jungle and the Stone Age any day. Life was much more simple then.
Oh, let's do a trip one day with the kids.
Would love it. Would love it.
No, but it's lovely what you say there, because I believe habit is a very important thing in this, and also, are you aware of your the mindset that you are in? If you are in this daily habit, that also structures your mindset. And are you willing to take the risk to grow your own mindset? It's not even the risk of losing money to put in money in something else, but to think about a different lifestyle.
Think
and
and
then
grow rich.
put in the action. So the think and grow rich is a very important thing.
Yeah, and think and grow rich is nothing to do with being rich financially. But I know that, you know, Mela and I collaborate on blockchain for women, and we are doing, Mela is doing the book club inside of that. And I know that when we're finished doing the Mike Maloney series, that we will be going on to that other amazing, very small, very, very old book. Go and download the free audiobook, guys. It's Think and Grow Rich. It's all about mindset. The difference between, you know, we could have a very wealthy neighborhood and you could have 2 kids from the exact same wealth status, and one is going to thrive and the other one is going to destroy his life. Same from one of the worst impoverished favelas in Brazil. You could have 2 rock solid poor children. One is going to become extremely successful and wealthy, and the other one is not. What is the difference? It's all mindset. It's all mindset. It's all mindset. Some of it's opportunity, of course, but everyone is presented with opportunities all the time. But if you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to see the opportunity and you're not going to take the opportunity. I feel very blessed that I have taken probably most opportunities that were thrown at me just because I just want to try it on and see what it looks like. But I would be I'd be very open to seeing opportunity and getting it. But that's something I've trained myself to allow myself to risk doing, because, you know, a lot of people talk about crypto and the blockchain space as risky. And what is the alternative? The alternative to what we're doing is so risky right now that you would be insane not to look at the opportunities that are there in front of you, mostly to learn and grow, but also to earn and grow. Because if you don't take the risk of trying something new, you're always going to stay in the old. And the old is really broken, has been broken for a long time, and it's about to get a lot more broken. And they're all out of super glue now at this stage. And so I do think, you know, when you look at risk, you have to look at the risk of not doing something as well as the risk of not doing it.
Well,
for me,
and
would be a
also
lot scarier.
also when it comes to risk, what do you have to lose and what do you have to gain? If you are living a miserable life, what do you have to lose? I think nothing. That is one of the reasons why I sometimes take drastic actions. Like I said in the beginning, I was sitting on the couch looking at my life and I was like, this is really shit. And I'm not going to excuse my French, because I was really depressed till a certain point. And then you need to take action. If you don't, then what is life worth then?
Well, you know, sometimes we're forced into action as well. And people find that with their health very often, that they're plodding along and everything is fine, even though it's really not. And you kind of know that it's not, but it's not until you come across a major health hurdle, potentially life endangering, that you finally go, I need to change. It's the same with your finances. At what point, you don't need to wait to get into really big trouble to start making changes that are going to make it way better than, honestly, my life is way better than I ever imagined it would be. That's how bloody good it is. It's as good as it gets for me right now, and has been for at least the last 12 months, 24 months. And it just keeps getting better by the day. I don't really find myself coming up against big challenges anymore. Whereas before, all this stuff kept coming at me all the time. But it's because of where I was. Was the last 3 years easy to get to where I am today? Fuck no. Excuse my language. But it wasn't. I was a single mom. I was really, really struggling, but I was not giving up. I put that goals down and I'm doing them no matter what. So it really, you know, you've got to work hard for it, but it really is worth it. It really, really is worth it. But it's not just for us, it's for our little ones. My son is never going to grow up in the hardship that I grew up in. He's never going to grow up with this crazy understanding of how the world worked or is supposed to work, instead of how it actually does work really, really well. We're so funny because we're between this new age fascinating technology that is decentralized and that is a redistribution of wealth. The wealth has been so focused and spearheaded into only one sector of society while bleeding everybody else dry. That's been flipped now, and it's now being dispersed back to whoever has their hands open, ready to accept it. But it's a very different, but we're also very much going back to the simplicities of life, of, you know, understanding what's really important in life and freedom and health. And I really think what's going on in the world has been a bonus to a lot of us. It's not easy, of course, but we have this lovely relationship, like the breathing, between this new technology that's giving us back our old way of doing things. When our grandparents were alive, none of these taxes were here on this planet. Not a single one of them. Go back and look at the taxes from 110, 100 years ago. None of them existed. We morphed into this disgusting place in life and finances, but now we have an opportunity to kind of go back while going forward. It's weird, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
we're using the technology, you know.
Yeah, and you can see technology as a threat, but like you say, we can also use it in our advantage and educate yourself to get to know how technology can be used in your advantage, I'd say.
Of course, anything misused, anything good can be
Can be.
misused. Of course it can, and has been.
Yeah.
But if enough people are using it in the right way, that far outweighs the bad stuff, far outweighs it. And, you know, you don't have a choice, whether you like to think it or not. You can fight the old system. Buckminster Fuller, Thrive, the new Thrive movie, I was watching it last night. I got started onto it while I was doing some stuff. Buckminster Fuller always said, you cannot create the new by fighting the old. You have to stop fighting the old. You're never going to win that fight. You're wasting energy and time on that. Again, it's focus. Are you going to focus your energy on fighting something that isn't conducive to your life anymore? Or are you going to spend that creating or co-creating new ways of doing things and the new world? Because that's a really much better way of focusing your energy.
Well, and it's like, I think it was Einstein said it, if you make the same mistake over and over again, you will get the same results. And if you expect a different result when you make the same mistake again,
yeah,
what are you doing then?
It's crazy, but people do it over and over and over again. And yeah, if you saw an animal doing it, you'd slap them. You know, but you know, we are creatures of habit as well, though, and people like to have a little security blanket and think that everything's going to be okay. Everything's not going to be okay unless you take action and do something about it. If you don't take action now, you absolutely are not going to come out as well as you could do. It's not like the end of the world for most people, but why not have a better life? Why not do something about it? Get up, do something, get on the course. Seriously, it's 90 days. Get on to the 3 months to cash flow. Come and work with us. Come and have 90 days of fun. I promise you, you will get your money back if you, at the end of the 30, I'll actually give you your money back if at the end of the 90 days that you have not had a lot of fun and learned a lot and are financially better off. So there's a guarantee
if that is not clear, I don't know.
Seriously,
no.
Because there's nobody that's leaving it not going, wow, that was awesome. And in fact, most of our clients are going, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Can we do this again for another 30 days? Because it really is a good investment of time and money over the 30 days, for sure.
And we have a lot of fun, which is also, you know, it doesn't have to be a struggle to get where you want to be. No. It can be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And when you're in the right supportive environment and you're not alone, because this can be a very lonely space, but when you're working with 4 coaches on tap for 90 days, 4 fun coaches, and not just us, there are other coaching groups as well, by the way. Learning has to be fun. Come to my free workshops. I try and make it as much fun as possible, because when I'm having fun, I'm learning a lot more than if I'm just listening to somebody boring. But it really, yeah, it is a lot of fun. And we have other programs coming too as well. I know that will be a follow on from it. But even just to get kickstarted, give yourself 90 days. Like, people don't even realize there's still 30 days, 33 days left in this year. Do you have any idea what you can achieve in 33 days if you put your minds to it? It's crazy. Like, people think, oh, it's going to take forever to do this. It's actually not. I know what I can do in a day. Never mind 33 days. I'm not going to be sitting on my laurels for the next 33 days as I finish my most successful year to date. Foot's not coming off the pedal. I am building towards a really successful start to next year. But I also have 33 days to add to the success of this year already. And I absolutely will be doing that.
And accelerate for this year, but also to get started with an acceleration next
year. Groundwork. So if you start now in the next, I think we'll probably take on another couple of clients before the rest of the year is out. But if you wanted to start, you know, in the next week or two, you're started and you've set up. When you're writing your New Year's Eve, when your New Year's resolutions for next year, they're going to look a lot better if you've already started this course. I can tell you that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Moira, thank you so much for
your
interview. I really enjoyed it.
Fun as always, Mara.
But you know, and that I think this interview is really what we're about. It's serious and fun at the same time, because we are serious about what we want to achieve in life. And at the same time, we do want to enjoy now, because I don't want to live in the future. I don't know about you, but
no, only
life
now.
is now.
correct.
And still
Thank
we
you so
are
much.
for the future. Yeah, thank you so much for
Thanks,
this.
Mela.
Really love it.